On today's episode of Titus and Tate, the apocalypse is at our front door, Tate. It happened.
Apocalypse now.
It happened. The most monumental day in NCAA history. A day that for the old crusty white guys will live in infamy. A day for the youngins out there will live in, what's the opposite of infamy? Fame?
Fame, yes.
It's a great day. The bag has been dropped. Name, image, likeness has actually happened. We've been, as expected, we should say. We've been talking about this for what, 4 years, 5 years since we've had a podcast? This has been imminent.
Let's just say like Jay Billis. We've been waiting on this since 1984.
It's been a long time coming, and at long last, it finally happened. And guys are now, and girls, I don't mean to anybody is now allowed to profit off their own name per NCAA rules. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it feels like to live in this world, because we're already seeing some bizarre might not be the right word, but it's definitely funny. Good content is coming out of this so far. And we're going to talk about that. Talk about talk about a lot of stuff around this stuff, because this is unprecedented territory. It might have sounded tongue in cheek when I said this is a monumental day, the biggest day in NCAA history. I actually genuinely believe that this is this fundamentally changes everything about college sports, and for a lot of people that is terrifying and scary and means the death of college sports. I think Tate and I agree that this is awesome and this is a very good thing, and college sports are going to be better for it. But I don't know, we might disagree on the show. We'll see.
It could be the death of some other leagues, right? The leagues that were supposed to kill college basketball. We'll get into all that.
I think the NBA is fine. I do. I think
you're right. We'll see though. We'll see. It's a really good day for candle companies. It's a really good day for fireworks companies. You know what I mean? They're all profiting off NIL, and I can't wait to talk about it.
It's so good. We're going to talk about that. Might do a little NBA thoughts too. The Phoenix Suns are now onto the finals, and
our Phoenix Suns. Can we say that America's
beloved
team?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I think
Wild Bags. That's for you. That's our team.
I think we're allowed to do that. But most of this is going to be name, image, likeness, our initial thoughts, our thoughts moving forward. We're going to have some fun today. We hope you do too. But first,
Woody Durham.
All right, so you threw this to me off air right before we started recording. You asked me this. I'm going to throw it right back at you and let you start this discussion. When was the moment that you realized this was real? And I guess I should preface it by saying we knew this was coming. You know, like if you pay any attention to college sports and the back channels, like the nonsense that's going on in meeting rooms and courtrooms and all that kind of stuff. You knew this was coming. If you listen to the podcast, you should know this was coming. We had Andy Katz on to explain to us that July 1st was the date, and he expected big sweeping change because all these states had passed legislation, and surely by July 1st, there was going to be a uniform deal. So it wasn't exactly a surprise. But as you asked me, I am now going to ask you, when did it sink in that this is the reality, this is the world we live in, that college athletes will now be able to do endorsements, to use their name and their image and their likeness to make money?
Yeah, so this was, when your cherry is popped in the world of NIL, this is when, like you said, the old guard loses their mind because they can't believe this day exists. The first sign that I saw that it was coming was Trent Frazier, friend of the program, Illinois guard. He had a countdown on his Instagram that was like, it was like, it started like a day before, and it was like, 24 hours until NIL rights. And he's like, DM me with, any opportunities, I'll do whatever. So that was when I, first saw, oh, wow, like this is really coming. This is really happening. But the name that we talk about in this program, a guy who went back, a Hawkeye at heart, Jordan Bohannon, was the first man that I saw, and it was fireworks. It was a firework company. I think it was Boom Fireworks. He's going to go there. He's going to sign autographs. He's going to sell fireworks. And I think we talked about a lot of different, car dealerships and the usual suspects. But the fact that it was Jordan Bohannon, who's like a 6-year senior for Iowa, and it was a fireworks company. And that was the first sign for me. Did you? What was yours?
I feel like a 6-year senior at Iowa signing on with the fireworks company is Boy, that is perfect. That checks all the boxes.
It is so good. And that's when I knew that we were in a new era. And instead of being upset like maybe the old guard is, I laughed. I cackled, I should say, when I read that. And shout out to Boom Fireworks, shout out to Jordan Bohannon, and then shout out to NIL, because this is content, Titus. That's what I think I realized in that moment, that this is so much content. So much good content.
I think my moment when I realized that this was bizarre was the word I used initially. I don't know if that's fair to but that's the word that comes to mind. That it's like, oh, this is the reality is actually shifting. This is changing. This is
jarring.
Yeah, like, oh my God, we've spent so much time. If a college athlete drives too nice of a car, we all freak out and get on forums and talk about what he's getting paid, where he's living, and all that. And now it's like in your face that the athletes are like, I endorse this, and it's like, whoa, this feels weird, but I like it, but it's weird, whatever. The one that stood out to me was keeping it in the Big Ten, by the way. I don't know what this means that you threw out two Big Ten. Mine is a Big Ten example, is the quarterback of Wisconsin, Graham Mertz is his name, right? He just tweeted some video where a logo pops up at the end. And that was like I guess his way of announcing that I have a logo, which I saw like the Oklahoma quarterback has a logo as well. And I think that was when I realized we're living in bizarro times. That again, I can't think of any other way to describe it than that. But that's when it hit me that like all of these logos started trickling in. Every single one of them, every single logo that exists. For athletes now is their initials somehow put together. That looks like a graphic design project from like sophomore year of high school someone put together.
I blame Tiger Woods for this, by the way. The TW, it does feel like everyone has tried to jump on that bandwagon forever.
It's so bad. But the Wisconsin kid, I didn't even remember who he was. I thought like Jack Cohn was the quarterback of Wisconsin. I guess he's not. It's Graham Mertz. And the guy was like, here's my logo. Be sure to get it on a hat or so. I don't know what, but that was the point. It was like I became so excited for this because I realized that this is going to be the norm for at least a year or two. I don't know how long the feeling out process is going to be, but I feel like it's going to be at least a year or two of the companies themselves trying to figure out like what gets a return on investment, whatever. The players trying to figure out like is there a concept of being overexposed? Not to these guys right now. No, the answer is very much no. So they are not like picking and choosing what their brand should be. They're just like, give me everything. I'm signing up for everything. And
DM me. That is pretty much.
When I saw Graham Mertz had a logo, it hit me. I was like, oh my God, like everybody's going to have everything. And this is going to be the Wild West. And it's going to be so good for content.
Yeah, I mean, Spencer Rattler, it makes sense that he would probably have a logo, right? He's a Heisman Trophy guy. He's going to be talked about during this entire offseason. So I kind of I was like, okay, you're branding yourself Spencer Rattler. Great name. You know what I mean? It all checks out. But my favorite was Bo Nix, the quarterback of Auburn, who signs with Milo's Sweet Tea. And he basically is like Ricky Bobby in this ad. He's like, if you don't drink Milo's, I'm gonna kick your ass. You know what I mean? This is the energy that I was hoping to see from NIL. And the Auburn quarterback like already being on top of it, for it to be Sweet Tea. That's really solid too. I've seen a Carolina football player came out. He signed with a gaming company. I mean, there's such a variety of brands. I think that's what I'm so excited about because.
How much of it do you think is these brands just it's less about like the actual sponsorship and that they believe that this player will get them this
move
many
the
eyeballs.
needle,
and it's more about like this moment in time that like if we can if we can steal a headline because we're a fireworks company and we're one of the first name image likeness deals out there, maybe that's worth more than like actually Jordan Bohannon. Like fast forward 6 months, Jordan Bohannon doing commercials for this fireworks company probably isn't making them any money. But right now, this moment in time, we're talking about it. People are like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yes.
That's what I wonder how many of these deals were that. We're like, let's just get our money back on July 1st when we announce it. And everyone laughs at how ridiculous this is that we're doing this.
I mean, and talk about a great time for a fireworks company. It's July 4th coming up. You know what I mean? It's just, they hit the nail on the head. So shout out to the fireworks, the whole market. That was a nice market.
Jordan Bohannon, every time he hits a three, he's gonna like turn to the camera and go boom.
Yeah, and then they have like a graphic, like a fireworks shooting out at the top. Yeah, this is gonna be that's kind of the other fun part of this is like, what does it look like in season, right? Because we joked about the idea of a guy telling his coach that he can't make practice because he has to go shoot this fireworks commercial, or Milo Sweet Tea is saying I have to go do a signing this afternoon. Like, what is that all going to look like? How are those stories going to roll out? And the best part about it is that you and I, this is our job to cover it. So we're going to spend a lot of time laughing and, like I said, cackling at how ridiculous this is. But we're also happy because it takes the elephant out of the room, right? That's been the big knock in college basketball for college sports in general for so long. It's like these guys are being misused, these guys are being mistreated, they're being exploited, yada, all the buzzwords.
Literally slavery, as we've heard.
Yes. $1 Million Slaves. That's a book that came out about the whole industry. So the fact that whole conversation is at least being addressed in some substantial way, I think that's a W for everybody. It's so good that Jay Billis did a 2-minute video where he said it's right.
Whoa. That's Bizarro World. Now that is Bizarro World. But you're absolutely right, man. Like we've reached a point now where hopefully moving forward, we don't have to feel dirty or scummy or whatever else about. And I never really have felt that bad, but I'd be lying if I said I've never been in a position where someone has asked me what I do for a living, and I say I talk about college basketball basically, and they're like, "You do what? You like that?"
They're like, "Gross.
That's gross. That's just my problem." And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just try not to think about it and just collect checks. I don't know.
Yes, the Dabo Sweeney approach.
I was like, no. I go, my whole project. No, I'd be like, I spent 4 years as a player, so it's okay. That's
You're like, it's okay. You're like, I did my due.
I paid my dues. I'm allowed to profit now. No, so hopefully moving forward, like, you don't have those conversations. You don't have, like the temperature can cool down, as they say.
Yes.
The discussions around college basketball can be about whether Gonzaga is overrated, not whether the players should be paid, right? Like, that's what we want. That's the fun part. I have absolutely hated this job. The FBI stuff initially was a ton of fun. But then it got a little bogged down with like having to read
Yahoo
boys, like having to read all their journalism and like suss out like law shit. Like, that's too much for me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to read through the NCAA bylaws. I don't want to, like it just all got, and then COVID happens and like suddenly we're talking about protocols with if this guy tests positive, does that mean that how many games should get back to, is Gonzaga overrated or not? Let's argue about it. That's why we watch college basketball.
And is it okay if Burt's Bees is sponsoring 2 guys on opposing teams that are rivals? You know what I mean? Like, these are the conversations that we're going to talk about in the NIL world. Yes.
This is fun. This is what we want. This is all we've ever wanted. And we're excited about it. So yeah, I mean, we've kind of touched on a few of the pitfalls, which I think that's why we're so excited about this, is that this is not going to go smoothly for a lot of people. They're going to be, you can already tell that there are, for all the exploiting college athletes that's gone on for 100+ years, it's not going to stop today. I'm not here to tell you that. In fact, it might be worse. It's just going to be a different form of exploiting. And the players themselves are going to make money, so it's not going to feel as like in your face dirty about it. But the exploitation is going to continue, Tate. And I am semi worried about the pitfalls. But having said that, as I've been consistent this entire time we've been talking about all this stuff, it's not the NCAA's place. It's not my place. It's not your place. It's none of our places to coddle the players and say, like, we can't pay you because then XYZ might happen and that would be bad, so we're going to go ahead and not pay. No. If they want to like forget to file taxes, that's on them. If they, if they want to, if this like blows up a locker room dynamic because one guy's driving a Maserati and the other guy's got his brother's hand-me-down beater because no one wants to pay him anything. That's for them to sort out. That's not like on the NCAA. Like, there will be pitfalls.
It's not a macro decision or like it has to all be handled individually, which seems to make sense. And I saw someone say this, I can't remember who it was, so I apologize, but they said if these TikTokers can file taxes and pay money and get these sponsorship deals, you know what I mean? Like, you've listened to these people talk, right? Yeah. Like they're not going to change the world with their opinions or their brains, but our college athletes are at higher, educations and schools that are going to be able to facilitate these situations. And you and I even talked about building in an infrastructure where these guys have maybe some sort of school or whatever accountant that's like telling them, hey, if you're taking a $20,000 deal in the state of California, you're only going to get 8,000 of that, you know,
Yeah.
and this means this and da 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 da.
So here's an offshore bank account that I set up. Where
Yes. So now we're going to say you live in Puerto Rico.
We
Okay.
created LLC. We set it up in Delaware because they're filing fees or something.
Honestly, it teaches you a lot about business, right? Then you're like looking around and you're like, man, this is wild.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and undermine the point you just made about like if the TikTokers could figure it out, surely college athletes could. When I was at Ohio State, as some of our listeners might remember, I sold T-shirts, club T-shirts that I think you could still buy at Homage now. So I could not profit off of that back in the day. I donated all the money to a kid, again, a great charity in Ohio, and they've now expanded to Indiana. Great charity. Does a lot of great work for. I'll plug them real quick. A lot of great work for 6 kids. Love a kid again, but I donated all the money to kid again. When my playing career was over, I went to a kid again. I was like, listen, man, I've raised a ton of money for you guys. They were very, very pleased with how it all went. They still like kiss my feet and treat me like a saint. And I was like, I cannot stress enough. I donated this money because I had to, but I appreciate that you think I'm a good person. So when my playing career ended, I go to a kid again and I say, hey,
give me my money back.
Can I have some money? And they're like, we already gave it to the kids.
Yes.
So I went to these sick kids' houses. I banged on the door. I took away their Christmas presents, and I said, "That's mine." You know?
Yeah, you're like, I worked hard for this.
No, I started once my playing career was over. I did like a 50-50 split, I believe, where like the checks would come from Homage for the because people were still buying T-shirts, whatever. And I started getting some of the money now. I still gave some to kid again, but I was like, I could use some of this money. I have no job. I've been paying my way through school. Like, can I get a little bit of this? It all worked out. Long story short, Tate, that was when was that? That was in March. Between March and so a full year goes by. Come back around from March to December, whatever. I'm collecting these checks as I've graduated, whatever. I still don't really have a job, by the way. Fast forward to tax season next year. It is like April 14th, and my dad mentioned something about me filing taxes, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Have you filed for all the checks you got?" And I was like, I don't have a job. Filing taxes is for people who have a job. I don't have a job.
Dad, are you not getting this? Duh, Dad.
Read a book, Dad.
Yeah, Jesus.
And long story short, I owed like 10 to 15,000 in back taxes because I was taking these checks that were not having taxes taken out. And boy, did I learn it. And I tell you what, Tate, next tax season came around. I knew the tax code like the back of my hand. I read
That's what I was going to say.
Word on that shit.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having to pay a lump sum of cash. And you're like, wait, what? Hold up.
I could teach a class on tax brackets and how taxes work in this country because of that. But
you hear this, Ohio State? This is your guy. Yeah.
There you go. So have me teach the kids taxes. But yeah, I definitely went through that, and it's definitely going to happen to someone else. It's definitely going to happen to someone else where it never crosses their mind that the money they're getting from their TikTok or whatever they're making, whatever college athlete is making their firework company, that you should probably pay taxes on this. But again, that's not our position to say like, let's not pay them because that might be a problem. Let them figure it out on their own. They'll owe a lot of money year one, but
can you imagine year 3, you're like preseason All-American, and then the story comes out that they're getting charged with tax evasion. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Elio Castronoves, and he got in trouble, like, but these are not pro athletes, and we're all just talking about an Ohio State player, and it's
coaches are like not renewing scholarships, and they're entering guys in the transfer portal for them because they don't want the heat that comes with the tax.
The IRS is the new FBI. Oh no, let's hope not.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. I'm excited about it. It is I think I'm glad the NCAA finally came out and did this, because I think we should make that point. Like the way we got here in the end is the NCAA finally at long last said we'll allow this. And for those who I've made this point a million times on the show, but I'll make it 1,000,001. The reason the NCAA did not do this earlier is because, like, maybe this is a horrible analogy, but this is one that comes to mind. Is you remember the dude that got his arm stuck in the when he was hiking the
127 hours. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I think the NCAA was that guy, and they knew their arm was stuck up against a rock, and they knew they had to cut it off, but it goes against every instinct you have to cut off your own arm. You know, like they knew that, like, once I do this, there's no going back, and this fundamentally changes who I am, and this it's done. But also, if I don't do this, I'm probably going to die.
Yes.
and
Yes.
NC State is going to secede and start their own thing. um, so we probably have to do this, and I think that's what ultimately happens. They cut off their arm. But like the reason the NCAA didn't do this before is because, as I've said, the NCAA exists for two reasons. Tate. It was to preserve amateurism, to crown national champions. Now that the amateurism is out the window, do we need the NCAA? Do we need them at all? Can we not? Can we just crown our own national champ? College football figures it out. I would like to make that point as well. That the Division One, Division 1A, the whatever the hell you call it,
FBS, whatever.
FBS.
Yeah.
The FCS fans got mad at me the last time I made this point because I didn't include them in Division One. But the top level of college football in this country, the national champion is technically not an NCAA champion because the NCAA has nothing to do with that, with the football. So my point is, if they can stay out of the most profitable college sport we have, why do we need them for any other college sport at this point?
Yeah.
If there's no longer amateurism. There's, you know what I mean?
And it used to be like the first arm. So the NCAA, we're going to use your analogy. They now have no arms. So the first time they cut their arms off, or their first arm, let's say their right arm, that was in 1984, as Jay Billis pointed out, and that was because the Board of Regents and the NCAA basically. The member schools every decision was made by the NCAA. The member schools could not independently make their own deals. They could not do merchandise deals. They could not do television deals. And then they took that into the Supreme Court, and then it gets knocked out. So then all the member schools were able to make this money. So it's already happened in 1984. So now this is the players getting the same freedoms that the schools got from the NCAA. So now the NCAA has no arms, but they can run. They can run, and they're going to run. They're going to run. We know they're going to run. So to give the full context, now both sides of the equation, they're pretty much taken out of. And I think they're looking around, like you said, and slowly but surely the schools and the players, as they have more and more of these specific issues build up where they're dealing with this situation and that situation, and the NCAA does nothing but cause problems and put more enforcement and more rules and, more mandates and all this stuff. They're all going to look around and say, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And then they start chanting SEC, EDE, and we move on from there. So the NCAA is walking a fine line right now where they're trying to make sure that people remember, hey, this is us. This is what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're welcome. Make sure you remember this. Kiss the ring. Make sure you understand what's going on here. And it is going to be fascinating because the Jay Billises of the worlds and, the Yahoo boys and all the Jays out there, like you and I, we're going to keep pointing these things out, and we're going to keep asking, like, what do you do here? We're going to be the Bobs in Office Space. We're going to sit down with the NCAA and we're going to say, what do you do here? And they're going to say, well, we hold this tournament. And they're like, well, can't we just hold it ourselves?
Yeah. Why do we need you? What is your purpose?
And that'll be fascinating.
Yeah.
That'll be fascinating.
I like the idea of big J's like Jay Billis and little J's like Jay Williams. I don't know if you meant to do it. You're like, you said Big J, and I was like, that's Billis.
Yeah,
J is more.
Man, it makes it think, that would be great. That would be great if they had a little TV show together, Big J, Little J.
What does this mean for compliance officers? I was thinking about that as well. That all these schools have, and I know this well because when I set on my T-shirt deal, I met with every single person that had anything to do with compliance at Ohio State. There was 1,000 of them. I had to talk to every single one of them, run it by every single one of them. It was the most red tape bureaucratic system in the world where they all send me to the other guy, and then the other guy sends me back to the first guy. And I remember thinking, this is way too much. We don't need all of this. What happens to those people though? Do we need them anymore?
No, but they have to. This is what you do in the business. You have to make a pivot, right? And I think if you're those guys, your compliance is now, marketing officer or brand officer,
making sure the players aren't doing like porn deals or something.
Yes. Like but you're also maybe like a third party in these negotiations so that the players, if they don't have representation, which I'm really hoping that these kids are able to get proper representation and have these the like a pure business transaction, because there's a chance that some seediness could occur. So at least if you had a third party,
that's what I'm saying, dude.
I mean,
I think this is going to be this is going to be just as exploitative. It's just
so
like
compliance officers get in
yeah.
those meetings, right? And
Yeah.
or maybe you don't have to be in all the meetings because that might be too intrusive, but you're just at least up to speed on what's going on. There's some sort of, you have to make sure that it gets approval at the higher level from the school. I just saw Armando Bacot of North Carolina, the first North Carolina basketball player. He got a deal with Jimmy's Seafood. So now we have seafood into the mix in the NIL world.
Mm-hmm.
So we're adding more industries by the day. And it's just,
but I think even the compliance. So I guess let's flesh that out, like these compliance guys, because I do think there's going to be a need for I'm back. It's 2010. I'm back. I'm a walk on. I got my blog. I'm a huge jackass on the end of the Ohio State bench, and I decided it'd be funny as a bit for me to do a fleshlight ad and for me to make a video where I'm like, "Hi, I'm Mark Titus, and I use a fleshlight," And Ohio State would obviously not love that if I did that, right? And
I would love to
so.
see Thad Matta's face when he has sent the video of you saying that.
Yeah. So Ohio State would obviously not love that. I would be told I can't do that, and that would make a lot of sense. And I don't think anybody would run to my defense and say, "Why can't he do this?" But Tate, let's say it is Jimmy Seafood, and I love Jimmy Seafood. But,
I love Jimmy Seafood.
Johnny Seafood is.
I hate Johnny's.
Johnny's is the main sponsor of Ohio State athletics. They put their big banner behind the backboard. The final.
This is good. Yes.
The one the bone when another team goes in the bonus, it's the bonus brought to you by Johnny Seafood, whatever it is. And I want to do a deal with Jimmy's, because after every single game that I played Ohio State, me and my family, we go to Jimmy's, and Jimmy takes care of us. Jimmy hooks it up. I love Jimmy. I've always loved Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to do a deal with Jimmy, and Ohio State's going to come to me and say, "You can't do that." I think that story becomes like, I think that's where people are going to get up in arms, and people are going to lose their mind. Be like, "Why can't the kid?" You know what I mean?
That is that's a great point. And it's also like, if Hyundai is your sponsor and then you have a Nissan deal, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of, are we going to map this out where there's exclusivity to certain brands where like you can't touch that? Like if you have a Bojangles deal, you can't do a Zaxby's deal.
Yeah.
Because they kind of have this issue. It would be hilarious to me as I think about this new world. College basketball is so different now. I like the idea of a player not being able to do a certain sponsorship and then entering the transfer portal, and that'd be the reason, like that's the world we could be living in.
I want to see a player do an ad for the transfer portal.
What is this? No wonder Coach K and Roy Williams are like, I'm out.
Dude, for real, like, because the schools are definitely going to tell guys no on deals that are just protecting their own interests, and that makes sense for the schools to do that. But also, do they have a right to do that? And I guess they do, because then, there's probably the players are going to have to sign some sort of agreement to like play at the school, and like these are the name, image, likeness deals that we allow here at the school. But I do feel like the public, is that going to be enough? Are we going to be back at square one in 5 years when people are up in arms that like kids they don't have full rights like they should? And again, I think I made this point on the show before, that the NBA has a similar situation where it's like NBA players, as much as you might not believe this, but NBA players cannot just endorse whatever they want. There are certain rules within like what they are allowed to endorse and how they are allowed to endorse it. And the way that they come to those agreements is the NBA Players Union makes these agreements with the
concessions.
The owners, and they do the tug of war, and they hash it out, and then they all sign the piece of paper, and it's done. There is no players union in college sports. There will not be a players union in college sports. Probably. I don't know. Maybe there will. Maybe that's going to be the ultimate solution to this, is like, there's got to be some sort of union. But it's going to be fascinating, because I think each of these deals is going to be the player themselves with the school themselves. You're going to have to weigh like how much it matters. Because on the one hand, Zion Williamson is the guy that everyone chooses to use for these discussions. I think he just checks a lot of the. Your face is like, why? I don't
it's just one of those things where like, I love Zion to death, but like we have better probably example. Like,
Zion, give me a player to use as a hypothetical other than Zion.
Cam Newton, Tim Tebow,
Cam Newton, whatever. Cam Newton. If someone of Cam Newton's caliber wants to do a Jimmy Seafood when the school has an ad with Johnny Seafood, on the one hand, Auburn wants to keep Cam Newton happy, so they're not going to tell him no per se. On the other hand, the seafood company that's paying Auburn is going to be pissed off at the guy who's the face of Auburn.
Yep.
So you have to find like the level of, you know what I mean? Like maybe like a guy on my level, no one cares what I do because they're like, no one's really paying attention anyway. Like go sell your Hyundai cars for a Toyota company. We don't give a shit. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. And who is, like you said, the schools have lawyers and legal teams and people that are definitely representing their best interests. And these are 18-year-old, the 23-year-old, and sometimes Perry Ellis 40-year-old kids that are in school and that don't have someone necessarily representing their interests. And to get someone to represent their interests, they're going to have to give up 10 to 15% of what they make.
Yeah.
Which is also not a flattering idea to most of these kids that are getting. Yes. I mean, these aren't mega $1 million deals. These are $20,000, $15,000, $10,000.
What if Jordan they could make $4 million?
I would tell you that fireworks must be a booming industry in Iowa. I had no idea. It checks out.
Oh my God. But to that point, that's another pitfall, I guess, another thing to watch, another thing that's going to be interesting. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just
we're just saying these are the stories that are going to come out.
We're pointing out as the world is turning, these are the changes that are happening. The relationship between the players and the coaches and the schools and all of that has always been, at least on the surface, Tate, like a familial one. It has been,
yes.
I am the father figure as the head coach coming to my family. John Calipari literally calls his program La Familia. You can be one of my many sons. You can be one of my kids. You may one day become one of my guys, but coming to my family, we are all together. Like once you sign on the dotted line to play at Kentucky, you are in the family. We will take care of you, whatever. And I'm curious moving forward if the relationship will now be like a transactional business one where you're not the family. You are your own entity. I am my own entity as a school, as a coach, whatever, as a program. We are just at an agreement that like, if for this moment in time, we have this contract where you're going to play here. It's not fully professional. We're not paying you a salary or whatever, but I mean, you have an agent. I have an agent.
Yeah.
The schools have lawyers. Like, you know, it feels a little bit like a prenup almost. Like we still love each other. We want to get married, but at the same time,
we know that this could end badly, and we want to make sure we get ahead of it.
And we're all sitting in the like we really love each other, but also like we can't just the two of us hash this out. So that's why we have 8 other people in the room to like discuss what this.
It does feel like a lot of conversations where the coach like comes up afterwards and goes, "Just so you know, this is business. This is not personal. I love you. I love you and your mom. You know." But this is just what we got to do. And I mean, it definitely changes the dynamics of the whole situation. And to get in the minutia of the whole thing, schools cannot pay the kids, right? I've seen a lot of people talking about, you know, the schools are finally paying these kids. Like amateurism is, I guess, whatever, they're able to
keep no arms, Tate, but it's still alive.
It's still alive, right? So the schools
cut off both
can't
its
pay
arms, but it's still kicking.
But the bag is the question, right? So how, you know, how does Dominique Wilkins get his $250,000 from Georgia? You know what I mean? In this new world, right? How does that work? And it used to go through boosters. It used to go through the church. It used to go through these things. But now I think with the way that things are set up, and we know that we can use different companies to then, you know what I mean, pay these certain kids. So if you're a school, and this is all hypothetical, let's say you're a school like Auburn and you have a relationship with a law firm.
This is all hypothetical.
All hypothetical.
But hypothetically, let's pick Auburn.
But hypothetically, it's Auburn. And you have a law firm in the city of downtown Auburn, and you know, you have a great close relationship with them. And let's say you make a gift, a donation to that place of $250,000. And then all of a sudden, future 5-star recruit is promised that he is going to get $250,000 to do this, you know, long-term sponsorship deal for that law firm. There could be some indirect ways that schools are still paying these players. And for a lot of people that are like, well, that's always been the case. Yes, but it's going to be more formalized now. It's not going to be the bag dropping and the suitcase dropping and all the BS that we've seen before. And I find that fascinating too, because you're going to be able to kind of connect the dots on some of these where it's like, I see what happened here. You know, Sup Dogs does not have $1 million, but somehow they have it to give to our top player. Oh, that's cool.
Man,
It's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be absolutely hilarious. It is going to be. It already is. Yes. It's already. What are your thoughts on reinstating things? Because I that's been a huge discussion so far out of the gate, that Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back. Chris Webber wants the banner that what banner did Michigan win? The Final Four banner, I guess, because I don't remember Michigan ever winning anything.
When I saw that, I'm like, what is he talking?
What banner is he talking about?
Yes.
Isn't the banner the
Duke and North Carolina had those banners? I guess he could take them from there.
They never won the Big Ten. They never won a national title. I understand what banners we're talking about here, but yeah, reinstate
maybe there's a banner somewhere that says we were the first team to wear baggy shorts, and then the Illinois, the flying in line, they're like, no, you weren't.
We invented the name Jalen and black socks. Hang the banner.
Man.
But what are your thoughts on that? Where do you land on that? Of now that this stuff is legal, now that the crimes that these guys, the quote unquote crimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the fact that it got Reggie Bush staying in a nice house and driving a nice car and these things. I mean, I of course give it to him. I never agreed with taking it away in the first place. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. It's kind of like Louisville. And I know a lot of people get upset about this because they're like, well, they cheated and they shouldn't be national champions. But guess what? They played the games and they won it.
Okay, so
I've already seen it. Reggie Bush, I watched him win the Heisman. So like, you can tell me that you took it away and that it doesn't count and there's an asterisk, but there's still at the bottom of every graphic, it says in parentheses, Reggie Bush Heisman's not here. You know what I mean? So like, we still acknowledge that it exists. So I guess
that maybe this is where we disagree, because I think that is enough then. So first of all, I think Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back for that specific case, because it's an individual award. Reggie Bush taking money, living in a nice house, driving a car did not make him better at football.
No,
if he was taking steroids or something, I think
exactly.
That makes him. Which I think I do land on that the guys that took steroids in baseball shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, because
it was a competitive advantage at some level.
It made you better. But to that point, paying players is a competitive advantage for teams. You know, so I think like what else can you there has to be some sort of system in place where if one team is cheating, because as much as you want to say like give Louisville their 2013 title back, or not even Louisville, like whatever, pick a school that had something taken away. Michigan's whatever banners it is that they won. Michigan, by paying their players and constructing their team in that manner, it gave them an advantage that maybe like Northwestern is looking around. They're like, we did it the right way though. Like if we would have known that we could have done that, we would have done it that way, and we would have lost in the national championship too. Like we could have totally been, so I do think if you're the NCAA, you had to do something. What can you really do? Because like you said, it already happened. Everybody already saw that it happened. So I guess they're just like vacated. They didn't like, it's not like you can take away the memory. But to that point, like if you're one of these guys, if you're Chris Webber, if you're I don't know, the 99 Ohio State team had their Final Four taken away. If you're in any team that's had something taken away, you still experienced it. Everyone remembers it. Luke Hancock is still a legend to people in Louisville. He's still a name that we'll throw around on our show, and your legacy is fine in that regard. So I don't know. I don't know. I think team stuff, I say don't reinstate. I think all the individual awards that people lost for taking money, reinstate.
I say reinstate everything except Jim Boeheim's wins. That is the only thing that I refuse to give back. Everything else reinstate, but Jim Boeheim does not get those wins. That is the only thing that I have any sort of stickling point in. The rest I'm okay with.
If we're reinstating so if we're reinstating things that are now legal, I mean, think about the butterfly effect here. That means we have to reinstate Kelvin Sampson's phone calls.
Yes.
So
he's the head coach at Indiana.
He's back at Indiana. Dan Dockich era of Indiana never happened. Daniel Moore never got minutes at IU. They never went 6-25. Tom Crean was never hired. We have to erase that from our memories. Vacate that.
Yep. Yeah. True.
Take it all away.
Get rid of it. That's all I'm saying. Get rid of it.
I don't know. It's a tough one, man. I think Reggie Bush is pretty straightforward though. I mean, that's one that's like just give him his Heisman. Does he literally not have his Heisman, by the way?
No, he doesn't have the physical trophy.
The physical
itself.
Trophy was literally taken from him.
Yes,
that is so hilarious. Like in a bad, like it sucks, but it's like so blatantly stupid that Like take his name off the list and the Heisman house.
Can you imagine the day that they came to his house to take the Heisman? They're like, Reggie, where is it? And he's like, hid it somewhere. It's like, I will never tell you.
What the hell?
They're scribbling. Yeah, they're trying to find it. Yeah.
You can't let the guy still have his trophy, but like just not invite him back to things or like not honor it.
Well,
like what the hell?
I think the big thing that I like for the disassociations from schools, like Todd Gurley for signing autographs, right? I think I don't know how long it lasted, but like Georgia had to disassociate from Todd Gurley and act like he never played there. He couldn't go back. Robert Quinn, who played for North Carolina because of the academic scandal, he had to disassociate when he was on Sunday Night Football. Even though he loves North Carolina, he couldn't say he played at North Carolina. You know what I mean? So like that stuff, you talk about, get rid of that, right?
Absolutely insane.
Robert Quinn got a watch. Todd Gurley signed autographs, which now is obviously very, very legal. A watch company could give Robert Quinn that watch. I mean, those types of decisions that were made by the NCAA, get rid of that. Disassociation.
Something too, like
yeah, I think so.
When he was in college,
there's so many of those. Autographs. Like even is Terrell Pryor? Did that happen to him? Did he get disassociated from Ohio State?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but like get rid of that.
But yeah, like he definitely had a stink around him where like they wouldn't. I don't know if it was official or unofficial, but he was definitely disassociated.
Reggie Bush should be able to go to USC football games and have people cheer for him and say, like, man, Reggie Bush and Lindell White, what an era, what a time. Yeah. Look at these highlights. Instead of being like, we don't know him and he never played here, and also he never won the Heisman.
I take it back.
That's ridiculous.
Now that you mentioned Terrell Pryor and I started thinking about the tattoos, I take it back. You shouldn't have to vacate that. But give it back.
Give Jim Tressel his job
only
back.
Because Michigan beat Ohio State the first year when Fickell was the interim coach. Braxton Miller's a true freshman quarterback. That was the last time Michigan beat Ohio State. That shouldn't count because if we reinstate,
was that Brady Hoke? At Michigan?
It had to have been, right?
It had to have been. Like it was Denard Robinson.
Yeah, because that was the year they won the Sugar Bowl. It was like Michigan's best team that they've had in a long time.
I was at that Sugar Bowl game, and I was pulling so hard against Virginia Tech because coastal rivalries they go for life. So that Michigan football, you need me back. That was the last time I was at that game. Not to Will Bonnet, but I was at that game.
Well, there you go. If we reinstate the stuff, the butterfly effect is that Ohio State would have actually won that game because Jim Tressel would still be coaching, and we would have had.
We would have both been in that game.
Yeah, and the Ohio State would have beat Michigan. Michigan would not have been in the Sugar Bowl. So give Ohio State
the Sugar Bowl.
The Sugar Bowl. Yes, there it is. There it is. I was trying to figure it out. But also keep all the Fab Five banners down.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Yes.
And my unbiased
and
opinion,
Jim Boeheim's wins. Those are the things. Maybe we make a list of what we're willing to reinstate and what we're willing to never give up on.
It should be like a when you're playing like your career mode on like Road to the Show or one of these sports video games, and you get an allocated number of points, skill points.
Yeah.
You want to use it on speed, on whatever.
Yes.
Like we should do that. We get like an allocated number of like things we can reinstate, and
then we go,
reinstate. We're like,
sorry.
All right, we'll give Boeheim a 1.5. We'll get back here. We'll give Minnesota back the 97. 97 banner. Okay, so let's see here.
I mean, speaking of things,
no.
No. Reinstate NCAA football. Reinstate NCAA basketball. Make the games with the names of the players so that you and I can play NCAA basketball and simulate games before they happen. And then we can act like that's what should have happened, right?
Dude,
because then what happens in the real game, we're like, that should have never happened.
Ken Pom is sweating bullets if that comes back. Because we don't need Ken Pom. We just simulate the games. Yeah. Done.
You and I just play each other.
Done. I'm canceling my non-existent Ken Pom subscription on the spot. And I'm saying, I don't need you to tell me adjusted efficiency. I can just simulate the games. I can do it myself.
I'm pretty sure that the Ringer still pays for our Ken Pom. I mean, shout out to Megan Schuster, but like the account still works. I get aggregated. Can I tell you why?
Please do.
I tweeted to the world that the school should start selling jerseys of the former stars and basically give them a cut. And for a lot of people at home, I saw people saying, well, this already happens. Texas Tech already sells Pat Mahomes jerseys and Kawhi Leonard's jerseys. Well, those guys don't get any money from that because the schools own their name, image, likeness rights, and therefore they are profiting off them after they've already left.
You have a Kawhi Leonard San Diego jersey. I was there when he bought it. Yeah.
And Kawhi Leonard got $0 from that.
Yeah. That's why he sat out. He's sitting out in protest, right? He's not actually hurt.
Yeah,
He
he
heard
was
about
like,
that.
I'm done with San Diego State. But I think that this NIL era, it's time to go back and bring back the stars of, like, the
Yes.
the Kenny Andersons, of the world, and get them to come to Georgia Tech for an event, and you can go there and you can get a real, Russell Athletic official 1990s vintage, Kenny Anderson jersey that he signs on the spot. They're making 70% of the profits there. The school still makes profits. They get 30%. I mean, this is a huge market, and a lot of people were, coming, chiming, saying what they were going to, what jerseys they specifically wanted. And I think it brings up this whole thing of, it does feel very NBA, right? Where you have a guy like Spencer Haywood who helped create the modern NBA superstar, but he was making, pennies when he was playing in the NBA. And now, Danilo Gallinari is making like $15 million a year. And Spencer Haywood's like, I would like if you gave me some of that money, please, because this would not exist without me. I would like to go back and retroactively pay some of these superstars like Sean Singletary, or Juan Dixon.
Should we do this? Because I saw people were having fun.
Yeah,
this discussion. Hey, who's an athlete you think would have made a lot of money if this would have existed? What about Tim Tebow? You think he would make money? Oh, he would have made a lot.
He would have made some money.
Let's see.
Oh, I remember.
You remember Tim Tebow? Oh, he would have made. Remember Johnny Manziel? Oh, Johnny Manziel would have made some money. Let's see here.
Yeah,
I was thinking about this. You remember Allen Iverson? He probably would have made some money.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen would have made money.
Oh, he would have made money.
Adam Morrison probably would have made some money. Reggie Miller probably.
Yeah. You know who wouldn't have made any money? No, I'm kidding. Everybody
would have made money.
Everyone would have made money.
We get it, America. Thank you for pointing out that.
If you were a star, you could have made money.
I feel like I was losing IQ points just seeing people on Twitter being like, holy shit, dude, if this system would have existed back in the day, like Mateen Cleaves could have made a killing at Michigan State off of the Flintstone era. And it's like, shit, that's the whole reason we want to put the system in place is all of these. Anybody that played more than like 10 minutes a game would have made a killing. Everybody would have made a killing. That's the reason we want the system.
You would have made a killing.
I would have made a killing.
Yes.
If only like 4 people would have made money, nobody would really care that much. No one would cry if using Zion as an example. I know he's the one that everyone throws out there about how he's exploited. He was not exploited to like Zion Williamson could have gone and played in Australia. If it was like 4 people, if it was Zion Williamson, like Trae Young and DeAndre Ayton, and those are only 3 people in the last 5 years that like would have actually made any sort of money. I don't think people are feeling that sorry for him. I think they're saying, dude, take your ass to Australia, take your ass to the G League, go make your money that way. The reason this is a crisis and the reason something had to be done is that everybody would have made money. Everybody.
100%. But
but everybody would have made money.
What I'm saying is, if you told me, for example, currently today, that I could buy a Joseph Forte jersey and I know that my money is going to Joseph Forte.
Yes.
That's the difference. You know what I mean? It's like, if I know that I can support Mateen Cleaves by buying a newly outfitted Nike Mateen Cleaves jersey where he's getting 70% of the profits, then I will buy and support that, because I think there's so many fans that at the time knew inherently that these guys deserve something. And then time has passed. Like, if I could buy a Caleb Swanigan Purdue jersey, and I know that Caleb Swanigan is going to get that 70% of those profits, like, I'm buying it. And then you create this whole new market of these guys are incentivized to come back to be associated with your universities, the stars of your time. There's not this animosity between the two. And you know that if you support this product now, they are finally getting a piece of their talent, of what they provided, of the entertainment.
Great point.
That's all I want.
Fast Rashad McCants is back into sucking off Carolina.
Oh my God.
Off his jersey.
And I'm buying it and I'm throwing up the rock.
Rashad is back and he's like, I'm a Tar Heel for life, always have been. I love Carolina.
Yes. 100%.
That's a great point, because you get all these guys to support. I saw Ohio State did it this week. My invitation got lost in the mail, and that's okay, because I don't check my mail that often, so I'm not too upset about it. But,
well, they think you're still in Ohio. They're like, Mark, we're sending all this to Ohio.
It's probably on me, but I saw Ohio State had back. They invited back a lot of the guys from my era. I'm definitely not heard about it. And they were working out with the team and all that kind of stuff, and it was a La Familia play, Tate. It was a brotherhood play.
I love
that.
Who was there? Sullinger?
Solinger, Evan Turner, John Diebler, Aaron Kraft, D'Angelo Russell, Keita Bates, Diop, Jayshawn Tate. I'm sorry. Who else?
Wow. That's a great group of pros, right?
Yeah, it was I don't know how Diebler got in there and I didn't, but I'm definitely not hurt by that at all. But
I think Diebler had probably had something with you not being there. I think he was like, there will only be one shooter here.
They gave Diebler the invitations to drop in the mail, and he was looking at the stack, and he took mine off the top, and just chucked it in the trash, and then put him in the mail,
and then winked at Evan Turner.
But doing those sorts of things, like having those guys back, you're gonna get like Daquan Cook is a great example. Daquan Cook has zero animosity towards Ohio State, as far as I know. I have not talked to Daquan in a few years, but as far as I know, Daquan Cook has zero animosity towards Ohio State. And maybe I shouldn't speak for him, but that's my perspective on it. But at the same time, he also doesn't necessarily have love for Ohio State because Daquan Cook just kind of he's living life, man. He's just like he's shit posting on Instagram, like memes that he finds, and like that's just it never really crosses his mind to like go back and be invested in the program. You call Daquan Cook and you say we want to sell your jersey. And the way you're going to sell more jerseys is you show up at games and you're signing autographs and you're kissing babies. Daquan Cook is back, and he's in that pro day,
dude,
bringing his 3-point championship trophy, his 3-point.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's like, I'm back, bitch.
And then all of a sudden, your brand of your school is just shot to the moon. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there's so much talent. There's so many great players that have come through all these top programs. Let's bring them home. Let's give them money. And let's celebrate them, because like the last time we celebrated them, we all knew it was a little, like you said, when you're talking about college, like there's a little bit of a, don't get too deep in here because this might be.
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, it might be an awkward conversation. But now let's just say, hey, that was effed up. Now let's pay these guys.
Yeah,
and I'll support. Absolutely. And I know you can buy.
By the way, you don't even have to pay me. I just want my jersey made. That'd be so sick.
That's the other part.
You can take 100% of the money. I don't want any.
And there's some guys.
I just want my jersey, like just the idea of having that made would be unbelievable,
dude. That's literally exactly what BJ Armstrong said to me. He was like, I don't want any money, I just want my jersey to be made by Iowa. You know what I mean? It's like, I just want my jersey to be back out there, dude. Yeah, exactly.
I just want to see
my jersey.
I just want to see some kid in the Ohio State student section tripping balls with my jersey on and just like losing his mind, cheering for the Buckeyes. That's all I really want. Just one time. Exactly. Please,
Ohio State, do something.
I had this thought too. We can wrap this up, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to hit on this, but it is another thing that was jarring to me. I guess again, probably too strong a word. It's not that serious, but it just stood out to me is the encouragement of players. Boy, I want to choose my word. I don't want to sound like an old man. I just want to kind of have a discussion here, Tate. But guys are basically selling out. There's no other way to put it. But like Jordan Bohannon doing a fireworks thing, it's selling out. But also,
it's the Wayne's World. It is literally yes.
But, they're going full throttle. The discussion I want to have is like how I guess it's cool that we've gotten to a point where I think selling out is encouraged. You know, like I think like people are now encouraged to just go get the bag, go get whatever money you can get, go get, you know, and I think it's been that way for a while. Like, I don't know, my generation, I'm older than the guys that are college athletes now. I don't even think we're in the same generation anymore, but I feel like my generation, even selling out isn't really a thing. That like, this is encouraging to me because like I'm seeing guys doing ads for like the shittiest companies out there, doing having horrible logos, just trying to squeeze every dime they can get out of this. And I say, oh my God, the public at large encourages this. They love this. People love this. They love people getting their bag. Basically, that's people love it, and it's crazy to me because when I was growing up, I certainly remember, like Wayne's World even like that joke existed because like selling out was like the worst thing you can possibly do, and I find that fascinating that like the shift has happened where there's no such thing as selling out anymore.
I was gonna say, and it used to be this idea of being a sellout was so, you know, it was like I'm real. I would never do that. I would never be that corporate shill. I would never be that guy. But with social media and the world we live in today, clout is all that matters. That's all these kids care about. I mean, it is the clout Olympics, and you know, I mean that comes down to Instagram, Twitter, all this sort of stuff. I mean, and if a candle company is going to pay you $25,000, like you said, it's like I'll wear a big candle outfit. You know, like there's that nobody cares.
No, I'm serious. It's like encouraging.
They'll do whatever.
It's encouraging me because I'm like I'm just gonna do it. I guess like no one's gonna dunk on me for like just saying yes to. I mean, I dipped my toes in it with Cameo when I was doing that for a while because I was like, whatever, I'll raise some money for the scholarship and we'll see how this goes. But it sort of felt a little weird to do it. But dude, the hell with it. Let's just sell out, man.
Yeah, no,
I really feel
this
like
is the era. If you wanted to be a sellout right now, is the time to sell out for sure.
I feel like Gen X was the last generation that really cared about that.
Yeah.
Maybe this feels like a Chuck Klosterman conversation. I feel like we should.
Yeah, Chuck Klosterman's like, well, the boomers were really the ones.
When you look at the housing market in 1984, I think one thing that
once a GI Bill was passed, it was you're like, what?
And so that's why Jordan Bohannon is selling fireworks. You're like, what? Okay.
And shout out to Chuck Klosterman, because he's like one of those guys, when he gets in those tangents, you actually believe that he's been thinking about this.
Yes.
There's a lot of people as they start at these stages, you're like, there's no way this has been on your mind.
Oh, when I go on my tangents, it's like, this is the first time I've ever thought about it.
Yeah. Facts. Me too.
But I did. I did actually think about that yesterday as I was seeing people all the tweeting going on. That stood out to me, because I was like, man, it's
a fair point.
When I was growing up, man, like if these guys would have, I don't know, you had to like pick and choose your spots because you didn't want to overexpose and whatever, and you had to like that was part of like the brand build.
Yeah.
Now the brand build is like just cast a wide net, catch as much as you can in there. And I understand it, dude. In all seriousness, there probably is like an argument to be made about like student debt and the economy at large and the job market and all that kind of shit that like people are like, dude, squeeze whatever dime you can out of this. But
my favorite, the moment in time where I want to be alert when it happens is when like one of these like, blunt companies, or OCB papers, like one of the, like once we get to the line of like alcohol, you know what I mean? Once these other once they start getting the market, and then there's the questions of like, are we sure we want, our starting point guard to be promoting, Hennessy?
Yeah.
and he's 19.
And at LSU, they're like, we are absolutely sure we would love that. Yeah. Yes. Like LSU starts recruiting on that. They're like, we're the only school in the country that allows alcohol
and tobacco sales. Yeah. You imagine that? Marlboro, the guy smoking cigarettes. Brady Mannix at Carolina. He's got a Marlboro Red sponsorship.
God, I love it. Oh man, fun times ahead. This is gonna be so good.
It's gonna be good.
This is so good.
We have so many more stories. Like this is literally the first day. So if you're at home and you're listening and you're like, this, like how new this July 1st was the first day, and that is where we are, and we have so many more stories to go.
Can we talk about something else before we get out of here that I definitely want to spend a little time on, because we touched on it last show, but I did not realize how off I was on this story, and we have to revisit it. Okay. We talked about the Wisconsin
tape.
Yes. The Wisconsin the tape that was leaked of the seniors talking to Greg Gard and basically saying this sucks and you're not my real dad and
even going as far, I can't remember who it was. It was Trice or whoever. Someone said that like they literally would never let their kid go to Wisconsin. Yeah, because that's how deep it got.
The tape was released, and it was they released the tapes, which is something we generally love on this show, but this time maybe not. But we were on vacation.
Not our tempo.
We were on vacation when this happened, and I just kind of glossed over it because I was trying to stay offline and not pay that much attention. I said that on the show. Anyway, what we apparently got wrong, because I got a flood of messages from people saying like, here is the prevailing theory. And boy, did my ears and eyes perk up because I got so excited about this. The prevailing theory coming out of Wisconsin was that a senior basketball player did not record this tape. This was the work of former interim assistant Alondo Tucker, who was hired, as you might remember, as an interim to fill in for Howard Moore, who tragically was in a car wreck, and his wife and daughter were killed in the wreck, and he was injured pretty severely and took medical leave. And so they're down an assistant, and they bring back Alondo Tucker, Big Ten Player of the Year in 2007, bring him back, put him on staff on an interim basis. He is there for 2 years. In April of this year, he is let go from Wisconsin. And so the prevailing theory, and this is speculation, allegedly, is that Alondo Tucker was in that meeting. He was the one who recorded it, and he released the tape because it was a Dino Gaudio type situation.
He sent the anonymous email. That's how
Yes.
the video was leaked. It was an
And
anonymous email.
I don't want to say that's exactly what happened, but I want to say that it has my attention.
I was gonna say it does. It definitely, the writing on the wall is not good for conspiracy theorists, because all the it connects. The dots connect for sure.
But the one thing I can't get past though is like this meeting apparently happened in February, at the end of February. Alonzo Tucker's let go in April. Did he know he was going to be let go in? Like, why would he be recording the meeting in the first place? What was the motive behind recording it in the first place? Unless the only thing I could think to bring it back around is that he was trying to basically like get Greg Gard fired so he could form his Penny Hardaway coup.
Yeah.
And take over as the head coach.
Or he was making sure that he had leverage in case he was going to get fired. You know what I mean? This is blackmail.
Great question. And then Gard found out about it, and maybe that's why he was let go. I don't know. This is all speculation. Again, we don't know what happened, but that has my attention, and I absolutely love it because I am quite possibly, Tate, I don't know if you know this about me. Some people don't know this about me, but I want everyone to know this about me. I am quite possibly the biggest Alonzo Tucker hater on planet Earth.
Wow.
I don't know the man personally. I don't know. I don't know his morals and ethics. If this is true, then, maybe I know a little bit.
You were right.
But we don't know if it's true or not. So whatever. I hate the man as a basketball player. I had to watch in 2007, this man be named Big Ten Player of the Year over Greg Oden, which in my mind is one of the lowest points in the history of Big Ten basketball in terms of stuff that's not a scandal. It's not a, obviously some of the off the court stuff with law type shit is probably a bigger deal than that. But in terms of like just pure basketball, that was one of the lowest points in the history of Big Ten basketball, that they let this like 6'3", 6'4" dude who plays power forward, has the most busted jump shot on earth, win Big Ten Player of the Year over Greg Oden. When I watched us play Wisconsin 3 times in a row, Alonzo Tucker's ass. It pissed me off so much. That guy, he is literally the worst Big Ten Player of the Year of all time. Time. Wisconsin fans, it deep down. That is one of the great tragedies in the history of Big Ten basketball. Up there with like the Ohio. I would put it this way: the Ohio State Minnesota fight in the 70s when the benches cleared and they were throwing punches. That was pretty bad. The Penn State Wisconsin 36-33 game like 10 years ago in the Big Ten tournament. There was that one. I would say Michigan winning the Big Ten this year, even though Illinois won more games than them and also beat them head to head on their own home court. That's a pretty low moment for the league. That's embarrassing for the league.
Yeah.
I would say the 2021 NCAA tournament as a whole. I would say Alonzo Tucker winning Big Ten Player of the Year over Greg Oden, and then I would say John Licklider in general. I would say that's my list of like, God damn, this is embarrassing. And so anyway, I just wanted to point that out that and you mentioned Alonzo Tucker. You have my attention because it just like 2007 was too soon, dude. And like the Big Ten voters were too scared to name a freshman Player of the Year, and it was so stupid, so stupid.
No, I agree. And since we're gonna go back and like we were talking about, give Reggie Bush his Heisman, I think we go back in these times and say we were working under the guise of old college basketball at the time, because Greg was, the one and done era had just started. He was a freshman. Freshmen don't win this award. Right. It was all that sort of bias that went into it, even though he was obviously the better player. He was obviously going to be the number one pick. I mean, it was like you said.
Mike Conley should have won Big Ten Player of the Year of Alonzo Tucker. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. So, but he was also a freshman. So it's like, let's go back and just let's frame it.
Alonzo Tucker would not have started on our team, on our Ohio State team. I'm here to tell you right now, and I'm saying this with a straight face. Alonzo Tucker in 2007. I will take all the heat from every Wisconsin fan, every Big Ten person. He would not have started on the 2007 Ohio State team. His ass would have come off the bench, and he was Big Ten Player of the Year. Get it out of my face. Yeah. Get it out of my face. Yeah. He would not have started. Daquan Cook didn't start on our team. Daquan Cook is miles better than a lot of
Daquan Cook started on the Thunder. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to think about that.
Dude. Alonzo Tucker, get this dude out of my face. I hope it's true. I hope somehow it comes out that he did record this, because
I mean the most egregious part about all this to me is that team that was doing this, recording conversations, threatening their coach, then blew out North Carolina in the first round. You know what I mean? I'm like what? How? How did this happen?
Here's my galaxy brain conspiracy theory. It was Greg Gard that recorded the meeting and released it as well. And he was trying to foster, he was trying to get people to be on his side, that like, oh my God, no wonder he's losing games,
Yeah.
there's a coup.
Look at these
forming.
guys.
Yeah, these guys are forming a coup against him, and you feel sympathetic towards Greg Gard, and you don't want him fired. You actually support him, because if you don't support him, you're supporting this other situation, and you have to pick a side as a Wisconsin fan. Which side you taking? So what if it was Greg Gard?
Yeah, it does seem like the Wisconsin fans have taken the side of Greg Gard and Barry Alvarez, the AD. Which it's very interesting because Alvarez is stepping down, right? So now there's going to be a new AD that probably doesn't have the same, support or reverence, whatever you want to say, for Greg Gard. So Greg Gard is in an interesting position. If someone does come in and says, "Hey, all your players hate you. What's going on here? We need to address this," then maybe Greg Gard is,
What if Greg Gard is the Brad Stevens situation? He's the new AD. He fires himself and then promotes himself in the same all-in-one motion.
Well, yeah, like what has happened? Like in sports, it's like gone back to like the 1960s with these types. Everything's just like internal. You just bump up. Yeah. I guess.
Oh man. What else is there? You want to talk NBA at all before we wrap up?
Yeah, we should just shout out. Yeah, we should shout out Chris Paul, right? I mean, we talked about him. We did a little episode probably a week ago talking about the Suns when they made it to the conference finals. We were very excited for them. I think the big story last night was the Pat Beverly push in the back.
He sucks.
Right?
He sucks. Yeah.
And then that led to this larger conversation. I saw a lot of people talking about Chris Paul. He's a dirty player, yada, yada, yada. And I just want to defend Chris Paul and say that Chris Paul, when he punched Julius Hodge in the nuts, if you watch that game, and I was watching that game live when it happened, Julius Hodge was being such a pest. He was being so annoying the entire game. All he does is run his mouth. As we remember, he had a big moment in the NCAA tournament, and he ran up and said, I told y'all. And it's like, Julius, you literally say this every game, and you usually lose. So, I mean, it wasn't like they beat UConn. I mean, he was all fired up. It's 2006. And Chris Paul deserved to punch him in the nuts. I wouldn't say that for most situations. I understand that Chris Paul has a gamesmanship about him that can be frustrating. But what Pat Beverly did is the most Bush League bullshit thing you can ever do in sports. And I was so shocked that no one on the Suns, like, I was really shocked Jay Crowder didn't headbutt him or tackle
Frank
him.
Kaminsky's the one, right, that everyone was killing because
just
stood right there and he's like, do I have to push? I guess I should push him.
yeah. And then Mikal Bridges, I mean, they were all right there, but it was almost, they were so shy. It was such I've never seen something so stupid.
Yeah, I got to say, in defense of Frank Kaminsky, I don't think I'm, like, I think I'm just shocked, one. And
they were all shocked, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It was so out of pocket.
It's easy to say if that happens on the street, like you gotta throw punches, but this isn't the street. So like,
no, it's the NBA, like which is literally Google. Yeah, this is literally like two guys fighting at Google in the NBA. Yeah, so I mean, there is a level of that.
Google.
I mean,
it's the Google kitchen.
It literally is, And the funniest part was like Rondo. Rondo and Chris
You're in
Paul
the break room at Google.
Yes. Ted and Jed just got in a fight. Rondo, who honestly like got in a real fight with Chris Paul, he's sitting on the bench, and his look that he gave Pat Beverly, which is basically like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? That was kind of that says it all. And Pat Beverly, I actually don't mind how he plays, but that was I do.
He sucks. He's not good at basketball. He's not good at I'm on the Russell Westbrook train of like Pat Beverly just tricks everyone into thinking that he does shit because he's annoying and loud.
Yeah.
He's Matthew Dellavedova is who he is.
Wow. Honestly, though, he's annoying. Yeah.
He's Matthew Dellavedova and just
Cleveland fans are upset right now. They're like, he's not Delly.
He'll never be Delly. Shout out to Chris Paul though. Finally a champion, Tate. He's finally won his championship.
Yes.
Western Conference champion, as we know. He's from the Banana Boat Brotherhood of claiming
if you make it to the finals, you win a championship. Yeah, LeBron has won 10 championships based on his own logic.
Is Arizona officially a pro basketball state now? What did I call Bobby Bags now? What's his name? Robert Knapsacks?
Yeah, something like that. Robert Sachs and Sean Miller gets fired and the death of Bobby Bags, he's transitioned into Robert Sachs now. And it is cool that Ayton is like going to be obviously the star of the future. I mean, Devin Booker is the star of now. Chris Paul, probably has 3 years left, during his Phoenix run. But DeAndre Ayton is going to be a star, and he was supposed to be that. And they paid, allegedly $100,000 for him to be the star at Arizona. So if you are an Arizona fan, you have to be excited that your pro team has him, and it's all going to be good. And
I'll
as
back
Chris
you up.
Paul said, I'm getting him a bag.
I'll back you up on that because Booker's still really young. So I think people listening might have been like, "What do you mean Aiden's the future?" And Booker's still really young too. But Booker's going to the Knicks or the Nets or something. You know, like we all know it. We all know that that's Booker has all the he checks all the boxes for a guy.
Booker is the star now. I mean, he really is. Like we joke about Cal's guys, but I am so shocked that Calipari has not been more on Devin Booker. But it's also the reason he can't is because he played him as the sixth man in a stupid platoon system, so he can't even ride him and celebrate him. But like, my God, I mean, Devin Booker is everything and then some, and he showed a lot of composure. Pat Bev was trying to get in his grill throughout this entire series, and he did a good job not punching him in the face, because I have a short temper at times, and if somebody was doing that to me, I would have snapped too. So good for him. Good for him.
Any other shout outs?
Man, I just want to shout out again to all the companies that are involved in the NIL. Please support these athletes. Please pay these kids. It is content for us. It is fodder for the people.
Should we pay also? Should we? I don't know.
It does feel very Barstool. I'm not even sure if they're doing this yet, but Barstool is definitely going to be.
They already are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, never
absolutely.
mind.
Yeah.
Pick that out.
They had a meeting. They went over all the facts and figures.
Yeah.
And they said,
they're like, how can we jock this?
How many retweets can I get?
Is Big Cat doing it? That's
no. I think it's Dave. I think it's Portnoy.
Of course. Yeah.
Portnoy made a video, and somewhere along the line he said,
"Save Wisconsin, Big Cat."
He said both sides are bad, and also
here's an idea.
I want to shout out Coach K. He's a lot of talk about the name, image, likeness stuff going on. I think we're losing sight of the real story in college basketball right now, which is Coach K is entering his final season as the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils. And I think we need to pivot away from talking about the kids. Like, get over it. Okay, cool. The kids are making money. Cool. Nobody cares.
Cool.
Nobody cares.
Go back to the real stars.
Go back to the And we need to spend more time discussing that this is the final season of Coach K. This is the last time July 1st will come around, Tate, and Coach K will be the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils. And I think we really need to respect that and appreciate the time we have. So
I think July 4th, I'm going to pour one out for Coach K. You know what I mean? Out of respect for his service at Army, for the people at home. And, you know, we should point out at the end of every episode, we're hoping during the regular season where we're really in the throes of things, that we have Duke representatives come on this program and give us one Coach K anecdote. We cannot promise anything, but we are reaching out to the Duke people. We've got some receptive Dukies out there. We have some JJ Redicks who are not as receptive.
Why don't we pay the current Duke players? We will sponsor the current Duke players.
Yes.
To come on our show.
What do you think is the least amount of money that we could pay them to do something?
That's a great question.
I think it's $500
to record, to get like the Greg Gard tapes.
Yeah.
Do that with Coach K, and we pay
Oh
for it.
My dude. Should we be Slugworm and just send one of these kids in like Charlie? Get the details. Oh, poor Coach K. That would be his nightmare.
I don't know how insane it is that you know that's the guys. Once you said it, I knew it was, but like your recall of who they dude at
oh man,
in that movie is his name.
Dude,
that's impressive.
Well,
that's impressive.
That's the reason I know that is because when I joined the Ringer, a certain media individual who we may not have mentioned beforehand tried to get me to do that for Bill Simmons. 2.5
minutes ago.
he tried to get me to do that for Bill Simmons, and I was like, as Charlie did, I was like, no, one day I'm gonna get this chocolate factory. I know it, and I was wrong. And it's gone.
You're like, how much you gonna pay me? And he's like, I'll give you some merch.
yeah. He's like, mad merch. Bill
I'll
said
boost the odds on the can't lose parlay. So you won't have to steal your parents' credit cards.
Oh man, we love media.
I want to shout out Kofi Coburn in the transfer portal. Is this surprising to you? I mean, it's not, because like it's Illinois basketball, and anything bad that happens to Illinois basketball, I guess at this point we shouldn't be surprised. But I thought he was going to the NBA. Tate, what happened? Now he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, well, it does reek of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it also makes a lot of sense because I saw Illinois is going after Dawson Garcia, who's in the transfer portal, transfer from Marquette. He's also Garcia is visiting North Carolina, but I think Illinois is, supposedly the favorites. And I assume that they were doing that because Kofi Coburn obviously was, like you said, going to the NBA. They got to replace their big man. But if he goes to Kentucky, I don't even know. But
thoughts
I
and
also
prayers to Shoeboy, by the way, if Coburn goes to Kentucky.
Yeah, right. Like
can you get back? Can you go back to West Virginia? What's he
all I know is I love the idea of Calipari building a super team in college basketball to stop Coach K. Yeah. That is a good underlying story.
That's a great, like, if that's Cal's branding this year, that's a great move for him. That's really a great move. If he's like, we must stop Duke at all costs. That you're getting all of America on board with that.
I am on board.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Let me know how
literally whatever it takes.
Another man who is in the recruiting business and is in the business of I don't know, the business of being in the business.
Wink. Yeah.
Penny Hardaway staying in Memphis. Shout out to him. Not going to the Orlando Magic. Has decided to take his name out of the coaching search, and it definitely was not a situation that the Magic told him, we're definitely not going to hire you. So
stop putting out stories that we are. Yes.
Please stop, Penny. Staying at Memphis Tate. There you go. Is this a death blow for the NBA? Should we be worried about the NBA that Penny Hardaway definitely could have been the head coach of the Magic, chose not to be, has decided to come back, and now that guys can get paid in college, he's licking his lips and he's saying, let's go. Let's make it happen.
And not only did he decide to come back, he decided to hire the originator, the OG, the man who decided, hey, I can coach at any blue blood and make them a winner because I'm going to get the best talent available. And that man is Larry Brown. I'm so happy for Larry Brown. All he does is help other programs, Villanova, Texas, SMU, North Carolina, UCLA, Kansas. He's everywhere. He always has been. But none of these places could hire him because of the NCAA ramifications. But Penny says, I don't care. I don't care if I'm under investigation from these fools. We're hiring Larry Brown. And, man, I'm excited to see what Memphis looks like because that's a big-time hire. And shout out to Larry Brown.
And at a time when Larry Brown's services can be fully
unlocked. Yes.
Two more shout-outs for me. Number one, Dwayne Washington staying in the draft.
Good call.
As expected.
As reported by Mark Titus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
you didn't report it, but I'm going to say that. Yeah.
I will say, like, that one, I'm not going to take a victory lap on that one. That one was like pretty obvious. That was the worst kept secret, and certainly in Ohio State, like, everyone kind of knew that. But I didn't feel like it was my place to make Dwayne's announcement for him, and I felt like I would let him make his announcement by texting apparently John Rothstein and Jeff Goodman.
Yeah, right. What's up with that?
I was like, I don't want to say anything. We'll let Dwayne do it on his own terms. Oh, okay. So his terms are just texting Rothstein. Cool. Very good. All right.
Perfect.
Never mind. There it is. But yeah, Dwayne staying in the draft. Good for him. Go make money. But also, you could have made money if you came back. No, he's gonna. I love Dwayne Washington.
Me too.
He got a lot of shit for people. I see people talking about like his performance in this year's NCAA tournament, and it's confusing. Number one, because Ohio State didn't play in the NCAA tournament. Tested positive for COVID. So I think they're thinking of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, probably.
When we lost to Illinois in the championship. But number two, I think the Dwayne Washington experience at Ohio State, you had to take the good with the bad, and he made a lot of boneheaded decisions. But that's why we loved him, because he'd also make plays that he was also the smoothest dude in the Big Ten last year.
Oh yeah,
when he was cooking, he was the smoothest dude. He was even more so than Io and I don't know. Is there any other candidates? Hunter Dickinson. He was very smooth.
Oh, so smooth. Watch him shoot a free throw.
So yeah, Dwayne, go be great in the pros, and then get invited back to Pro Day, and tell me how it is, because I'm
Send me a text.
Final shout out: Chicago State has parted ways with Lance Irvin. The Chicago State head men's basketball job is back open. Tate, is it time to make Chicago State again? Do you think we fire up the campaign and go for it again?
I don't think so. I don't think we go to Chicago. Yeah. I think the recruits are going to Illinois now. When you first put this out and we wanted to make Chicago State again, I think that Illinois was down. I think Northwestern was obviously a facade, right? They went to the tournament that one time, so it was an open space, and I think Brad Underwood has it under control now, and I think we leave it be. I think we got to get West Coast. West Coast is where we're
Okay.
going. That's where we're
We
going.
got to figure out. We got to figure out the West Coast.
Well, we got Tim Miles at San Jose State. You know, he's doing the legwork. He's letting us know what it looks like. LMU, they love us. Yep. But we're not trying to take jobs from anyone that has jobs.
They say they love us. That's funny. They say they love us. They have not allowed us to get shots up in the gym one single time since I've lived out in LA, and I find that interesting. So
I do too.
I'm not keeping. You know, I don't hold grudges, but I also have a great memory. So it's interesting. I find that interesting as well. All right. Well, maybe Chicago State's not to play. Maybe we don't make Chicago State.
If you want to make it great. I'm not going to stop you. That's
Chicago State to me is what I want Indiana to be to Brad Stevens, where like it got in my blood, and it's like no matter where I go in this world, I'm going to feel the call back home to Chicago State, where I've never once lived in Chicago, but it feels like home to me. It feels like that job will always like it's Chicago State is the girl you had a crush on when you were a freshman in high school, and she was like a junior, and you thought she was everything because she had a car and she was so cool and all that.
Yeah. And she was nice to you.
Yeah. And you grow up and now you're like 33 and she's 35 and you're like, yeah, she's not that hot, but I can't get it out of my head. Every time I look at her, I just like feel like she's that unattainable prize that I wanted so badly all those years ago. And I can't shake it.
Call her.
Chicago State. I might have to give her a call.
Give her a call.
That's it. That's the show. Congratulations to all the college athletes cashing in. Big day. Congratulations to you, the listener, I guess, for I don't know what. Have a happy 4th, I guess.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Do you have any plans, Tate? What are you doing?
No, I mean, I'm going down to the beach, Ocean Isle, with the family. So, you know, North Carolina beaches, best beaches in the world. But we are not going to record on Tuesday of next week in honor of Coach K and July 4th. But we will be back next Thursday. Regularly scheduled programming. So we'll see you then.
We're going to take the 4th off. I suggest you do the same. Turn your phone off.
Take a break.
Go find a body of water somewhere, however big it needs to be. Maybe it's a blow up pool you throw in your backyard. I don't know, but you gotta find a body of water on the 4th. Go grill some meat, throw some meat on the grill, blow some shit up.
Watch the hot dog contest, you know, pull for Joey Chestnut. These are all American traditions on the 4th of July.
Baby. Yeah. And we will see you guys next week.
Let's do it. Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.